Now, police in Gauteng have arrested a bottle store owner for violating the lockdown regulations. We were speaking to our reporter Mahlako Komane a bit earlier on, and we had difficulties with the connection. So, Mahlako, please just recap for us how the story played out. I believe it started off at a roadblock.
Yes, in actual fact, Peter, my understanding here is that this started off during the normal law enforcement activities of SABC members. It was then they actually driving, just driving around and I suppose getting people to adhere to this lockdown, where they then saw three gentlemen offloading 3 bags, and when they asked them what was in there, they went to check. We understand that what they found inside that was the beer that they found inside there. Then they quizzed them and they asked them, where did they get this? They initially tried, to tell different stories. Eventually, they then confessed and led the police here. I understand they led law enforcement authorities to this particular place here in Orlando East. It was then the owner was, I'm told, found around here, and they spoke to the owner. This is the accusation. The owner initially also denying that he had sold this liquor to these 3 gentlemen. The gentleman, and then, the police, upon further engagement with the owner of this bottle store, I understand that it was here where he then eventually, confessed that this is what had happened. But I also understand that this was also confirmed by security, security equipment. You'd understand, obviously, when you have such a high value of stock in your property, you obviously want to keep an eye of what you have and where is it going. It was then, they were able to confirm from that, understanding that also this was not the only clients of the day. It would seem that the lockdown here at this place was not happening, for the duration, these 21 days that so far that we have been under lockdown.
All right, so the bottle store is now shut, and is the bottle store owner in police custody as we speak?
We understand the owner is around here. They will also, I think, taking in for breaking these regulations. But also, I think we've seen police taking into police custody the alcohol, the liquor that was confiscated here. Understanding that this is, we understand that this is worth, I think, when I ask around about anywhere between 1.5 million and 1.8 million. So it's anywhere actually between, there's actually said 1.5 to 2 million. Is the value of the stock here in terms of the alcohol that will now be taken. So, I mean, a huge loss. It would have been easier to actually just adhere to lockdown rules and, wait until this lockdown is over and we have, we've gotten out of this coronavirus pandemic, Peter.
All right, talking about violating lockdown regulations, it looks like it's a normal day behind you. People just seem to be doing what they do.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I'm just going to step out of shot now, and Kwazi is going to just it's normal here, Peter. It's literally business as usual. When we drove in here, trying to locate the place. It's not only in this particular town, in this particular part of Soweto, but in other parts as well, in other areas as well. People going about their business, children playing on the streets. You'd swear it's an ordinary Friday. You'd swear that we are not battling a pandemic such as we find ourselves in, the time that we find ourselves in. Even people driving around. I mean, there's a taxi here, this taxi that is coming. If you just take an opportunity to look, full. It's full, Peter. Just take an opportunity to check. This thing is loaded to capacity. It's full. You ask yourself, are we all in lockdown, or what is it that is going on? I mean, it's a full minibus taxi, this high ace here, full of passengers. So, I mean, you're quite correct, and that is the observation that we ourselves have also been seeing, that it is business as usual in this part of the country, Peter.
Police are there in their numbers. I've seen a number of cars. Are they not doing anything about people just wandering around, not social distancing?
Well, I know that a lot of them that are here are collecting this alcohol. It's actually quite, we managed to be able to see. It's quite a lot of alcohol. I mean, the first van is almost full. They're going to load into the next one. So I suppose that manpower of ensuring that they are loading, they are loading the liquor into this so that they can take it away after obviously the violation of the lockdown. But I think you do see police cars outside of the operation that is specifically here, and not a lot of enforcement necessarily going on. You wonder what is it that is so challenging about getting people to stay home. But like I said, we saw children playing, we saw adults walking around, and it's not even that people are holding groceries or where you say perhaps they had gone shopping, but it looks like it's business as usual. We saw people caressing each other in the streets. So, I mean, this is what we saw when we drove into this place today.
All right, I guess it's difficult for you to assess because you're in one location, but this one doesn't look very hidden. I would imagine that inside the suburbs of Soweto that there could be many more operations such as this that are not so visible, that are probably breaking the law.
Well, I mean, you would assume so. I mean, the country is big, it's large. The township as well is big, it's also large. Anything is possible. But I mean, you would hear things, you'd see things on WhatsApp that these are the prices on the black market, obviously meaning that there is a supply. I mean, earlier on we were at the Roadblock there in Grasmere and speaking to Zola Majavu in his capacity as chairman of RTMC, saying that they've now also just begun having to physically go into the car, even though you have a permit, and search what is it that you have in this car, because they've now picked up that people are transporting liquor. They're using their legitimate permits to also move around liquor. So people, I suppose, are buying somewhere, because we know that if you go to any other legal bottle store, it is, well, the big retailers, they definitely close, it's shut down. So, but somewhere, somehow, there's a leakage in the system. And I think also for intelligence to come to the party. And it's not only that, you'll also remember, I think in Pretoria yesterday, also, yesterday or the day before, there were cigarettes that were also found, that the tobacco that was also found with hundreds of thousands of rands as well, that I suppose was also going into the black market. So it's quite interesting to see how police are going to try and juggle this or contain this issue of the movement and the sale of liquor as well as tobacco.
All right, so Mahlako, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much indeed. That's our reporter, Mahlako Komane, who's in Soweto, where a man has been arrested by the police for selling liquor illegally. Of course, this has been banned as part of the regulations of the national lockdown. And she tells us that there was the liquor that's been confiscated is worth a few million rands. We'll have more on that story again in more of our programs later tonight. Now,